All right, welcome to Drill Down Insider. We are joined right now by a company that is just the right story at just the right time. This is Elastic. And of course, Ash Kulkarni joins us right now. Ash, here we are down the street from each other in San Francisco. And apparently we got the same uniform memo. I want to talk to you about this quarter because it seemed that a lot of the things that Elastic's been working on, and indeed when the stock got beat up about 6 months ago, with a change in sales and execution, you guys made the point, we're just changing. This isn't not even a hiccup, it's just a change in the way we do things. And boy, these results sure showed that the change has taken effect and things seem to be hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, we had a very strong quarter. Q3, we grew top line revenue by 17%, cloud revenue grew by 26%. We delivered very strong operating margins of 17%. So sort of a clean beat across all metrics that we guide to. In terms of the business and sales performance, what I'd say is first Q2 and then Q3 sort of demonstrates that we are back to the kinds of sales execution that we were used to in the past. The team just performed wonderfully. And we saw strong demand across all parts of our business. So obviously search benefited from Gen AI, but then also observability and security, just given that AI now permeates through all aspects of our solution. So it was just a wonderful quarter.
Yeah, I mean, those are the three pillars of Elastic, right? There's search, which I think people tend to know when they think of your business, but security and then observability, and how the same tools can affect all those businesses. Let's talk about some of those tools. You talked in the conference call, and you called out in the press release and in the presentation, the logs DB index mode. Mm-hmm. Explain that if you can to the layperson here. What is that, and why is that helping you so much with your enterprise customers?
Yeah, so first of all, I think it's important to just step back and think about Elastic and what we do. And we describe ourselves as the search AI platform. And what that means is, when it comes to all kinds of data, but particularly messy, unstructured data, we are exceptionally good at ingesting all of that data, like at massive scales, petabytes of data, very, very fast into our platform, and then making it entirely searchable, giving you the ability to run all kinds of analytics on it, using machine learning, using AI. And that's what helps you, do things like being able to search for just the right information, ground your large language models for AI, help you with observability to find the right signals to keep your systems up and running, detect cybersecurity threats to make sure that you're protected, your environment is protected. So that's the core of what we do. And then, we are constantly trying to make sure that our platform is optimized for the kinds of data that customers bring into our platform. And logs are probably one of the richest sources of information, but also some of the messiest and the most complicated and voluminous. And what logs DB index mode does is it allows you to bring in log information, and we store it and manage it and allow the querying of that data in an incredibly efficient way, far more so than what is possible, not just from us in the past, but from others. And because of that, you're able to store more information, manage it in a more cost-effective way, and also sort of get better performance out of it. And that's been driving customers to bring more workloads onto our platform, both for observability and security. We released that functionality just in the last quarter, and we already saw multiple, sort of success stories associated with it, where customers tried it out and immediately were gravitated towards it. That helped us win some key deals.
How is it different than what was in the market a year ago?
Yeah, so, in the past, when we managed log information, we didn't necessarily create a separate index type for logs. Like it was stored in, just the way we would typically store data. And any kind of data can be brought into Elastic and can be stored into Elastic. With logs DB index mode, we have a specific index type for dealing with logs. And it's sort of built upon some prior, work that we had done. And we sort of created this specific data type to manage log information better. Because keep in mind that logs have a very well-defined model, right? It's all, you sort of tail logs. Every log line follows the prior log line, if you will. So there's a timestamp associated with it.
Right.
and you know there are ways in which
It's like the
you can
rings
manage
of a
more
tree. You can
efficiently.
kind of see what happened during the
That's
interval
exactly right. So we've
period.
created a more efficient form for how we are storing these logs and managing them, and that's really what led to this improvement, this significant improvement in terms of performance and storage efficiency.
And you can see how, in particular, both for observability and for security, that would be so beneficial.
And that's right. That's right. This idea of a synthetic data source, like this idea of how we manage specific data types more efficiently, is something that you're going to see us do more and more, as we go forward, right? So obviously, logs, we're doing this. In the past, we have done something called time series for time series data for dealing with metrics. We call it time series data streams. And you've seen us do something similar for vector data types, right? So you saw us do binary quantization, better binary quantization. That was to deal with, vector data types. So for different data types, there are different kinds of optimizations that make sense. But if you step back, the message you should take away is we are laser focused on helping our customers derive tremendous value at a cost that is unbeatable in the market. And we're going to constantly keep optimizing that with an aim to getting our customers to consolidate more workloads onto our platform. I want all your logs, all your metrics, all your security information to be on Elastic, because we can help you bring down the overall cost of your environment, but get tremendous value from AI. Get your detections faster, be more proactive in identifying issues with your application, so your SRE teams, your site reliability teams can be more effective. Like, our goal is to make our customers incredibly effective with the value of AI and the value of consolidation onto our platform.
So let's talk about that, because when we look at customer, at least when I model out customer count and value per customer, you see that your company's story for a long time was land, not necessarily expand. Now the story is expand with a lot less land. And I wonder, that's obviously the goal there, but it looks like that's a real focus here, is to get the customers you've got to spend a lot more, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, the motion will always be land and expand. Look at, the thing that is important to recognize is you can never stop landing new customers, because you can't build a thriving, generational business just by doing more with existing customers. So we do care about land, but we think about customers in different segments. For the SMB segment, the small and medium business segment, which is sort of the lowest end of the spectrum, our model for them is, approach them through a self-service motion, right? So now, as you know, we are back to open source, right? We've adopted the AGPL license. So our technology is now discoverable in every place where developers go to find open source products. And that's a huge, mechanism for us to get greater and greater developer awareness and developer adoption. And then as those customers choose to use something that, they want to run on the cloud, or, actually add more instances for, they come to our cloud monthly, right? So it's a self-service motion, it's product-led growth. They come and start a trial, they swipe a credit card and start using us that way. That's the SMB segment. We don't really service them through our sales teams. And then for our mid-market and the enterprise, which is sort of the top of the pyramid, those we service through our sales-led motion. And at the beginning of this fiscal year, we created some dedicated teams that went after those greenfield accounts, new territories that we are trying to, break into, where we haven't done business with these customers. Because even today, we have more than about 50% of the Fortune 500, but there's that remaining 50% of the Fortune 500 that's still open territory for us to go grab. Those are going to be new customers as well, but they won't be in the hundreds. They won't be in the thousands, because there aren't that many enterprise or mid-market customers, right?
Not that much left.
Exactly.
That you don't have already.
So that's it. So there is going to be land that will continuously happen. It won't be massive numbers. And then expansion will be the way we continue to become more and more critical to an organization's IT infrastructure.
And I would think that your new availability on Amazon Web Services in the regions that you're in thus far, and more to come, was going to make that a lot easier.
And not just AWS, but Azure and GCP. One of the things that was very exciting at the reInvent conference in December, we
In
won.
Las Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, we won the AWS Partner of the Year award for generative AI. So we were the generative AI Partner of the Year, which just shows you how far we've come with our relationship with AWS now, where we're winning these awards in sort of what they consider to be a key area for them. We are now their Partner of the Year. The other
and
thing
so
is that,
interesting that you guys were there doing vectorization of database models long before anyone was talking about generative AI.
that's exactly right. 5 years ago, when we started investing in our vector database, like most people didn't know what a vector database was. And now, you've seen our investments in our ELSER embedding model. We were ahead of the curve. We have our own re-ranking model, and now others are trying to catch up. But we already have become this platform, this runtime platform for retrieval augmented generation for customers as they're building, these Gen AI applications, these agentic workflows. And that's a great place to be, because as more and more organizations infuse AI into not just a dozen of their applications, but all their applications, and that's going to happen. As that happens, we want to be that runtime platform. We want to be there, and that's why we are so laser focused on this area.
Tell me about AI agents, agentic AI, where you see that being rolled out and how Elastic is being used to make that happen right now.
Yeah, so we have over 1,750 customers that are using us on Elastic Cloud for building Gen AI applications, and 270 in our 100K cohort. Customers who spend more than $100,000 with us on an annual basis. 270 of those
Right.
are now using us for Gen AI. In Q3, we did $5 million plus deals that were driven by Gen AI. In Q2, we had done 3 of those. So you're seeing that momentum continue to build. So I feel really good about the adoption that we have seen. And what we're seeing now is there's a maturation that's happening with customers that are now, not just building these applications for internal facing use cases, but also for external facing use cases. And we are seeing them across all industries: financial services, telecommunications, manufacturing, and automotive. We've seen use cases in government. We've seen use cases in technology, in e-discovery. So it's very broad based, which is fantastic to see. And the general trend seems to be, somebody who's used us in the past for text-based search, then moves to semantic search, where somebody searches based on meaning, right? Context and contextual
Right.
searching. And then from there they move to conversational apps, where they're now providing a conversational interface for users to sort of talk to the data. And then from there, to try and automate entire business workflows that depend on this kind of unstructured data, using what people often refer to as agentic workflows. But agentic workflows are nothing other than sort of multi-step processes where there is storage state in between. And each of those steps of the process typically depend on some amount of retrieval, right? Each of those steps require you to ground your large language model, and you ground it on your enterprise data, and that requires Elastic. So that's where we are really
Right.
playing a role. And I was telling somebody this, that you talk about any major IT organization. So take a bank, take a major Fortune 100 bank. They probably have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of IT applications across all the different functions, across all the departments, across their global operations. And you think about how many of them have they started using AI for. It's in the dozens. And so we are so early in this phase. And if you truly believe that AI is going to affect everything that we do, this is going to be such a large opportunity in the
Yeah.
years to come. And being baked into all of those places now, that's the key, because we haven't seen the inflection yet. But when it happens, it's going to be enormous. And we saw this with the early days of the internet. We saw this with the early days of cloud computing. So that's how we see it. That's how we see the momentum. And that's why we are so focused on getting all these wins and making sure that the industry, our customers, see us as this runtime platform for ag.
Can you give me an example of something that someone is doing with agentic AI that they couldn't do before, something that's happening using Elastic?
Lots of it is around conversational apps, like I talked about. So a perfect example would be an automotive company that built, about almost 30 different, chat-style conversational AI applications for different aspects, for working with their dealer network, for working with their end customers, and all of those in the past would have required human beings to sort of go through the process. Now it's the AI agent that's helping the human in the loop to make the system far more efficient, far more effective. So the end user on the other side gets a better experience, right? That's a big unlock for them. Another example is a bank that I talked about in Q3. They're a major bank. They have several million customers, and those customers are now able to access all their data and learn about things on their information, their account information, their asset information, and things that affect those assets through a conversational API. Again, pretty significant. We have applications that are automating entire workflows for customer onboarding. Those kinds of things are pretty compelling. They're exciting. And it's not just about textual data. It's also about, multimodal kinds of applications where you're talking about images, videos. So it's really pretty broad-based.
Cool stuff. Ash Kulkarni is the CEO of Elastic. Ash, we appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you.
All right, coming up next on the Drill Down Insider, the Byte, the one number that tells us a whole lot about Elastic, right after this. All right, welcome back to the Drill Down Insider. We told you we have the Byte, the one number that tells us a whole lot about Elastic, and that number is 1,460. That is how many customers Elastic has spending more than $100,000 with them on an annual basis. And that's, it's a lot more. That's 118% more than they had 3 years ago in the same quarter. So 1,460 clients spending over $100,000 a year shows you how Elastic's getting bigger with the customers that matter the most. Thanks for checking out Drill Down Insider and Ash Kulkarni. We're going to continue to follow Elastic with some special coverage coming up in a few weeks here, but you'll have to sit tight and wait for that one. I'm Cory Johnson with Epistrophe Capital Research. Thanks for watching.